of AH Sports.
We're live in 30, yeah.
Us?
Oh, no, we're live in 2:30. 2:30. He's going to cue us. I'll tell you on the countdown. I'll go like this. Yeah. Oh, man. We're all kind of hurt. The sun was fine. The wind was good. And now it's.
A mule.
Alamo Heights football, a production of AH Sports Media tonight. The Mules back in action. Potentially moving to 4-0 on this 2023 season, and they do it against the McCOLLUM Cowboys tonight at Harlandale Memorial Stadium. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to a Harlandale Memorial Stadium in the midst of a little bit of a facelift happening tonight. The Mules eyeing that start on fields. My name is Casey. Like to run the ball very similar to Alamo Heights and do it in a lot of ways, and it's worked so far this season.
You hit the nail on the head. They're led by Luke Landa, their quarterback, and then their running backs come in, and they are fierce. They like to get chunk yards just like Alamo Heights, which makes this matchup intriguing, right? The defense hasn't seen explosion like this since week 1 against Seguin, where they got huge chunk yards. I believe one of the touchdowns was 80 yards or more. So tonight's going to be a test for the defense on the passing game and in the running game. So we're looking forward to the trenches all night long.
About 11 and a half minutes to go before we kick things off tonight. Piggybacking off of that point and talking about McCOLLUM a little bit more. They're head coached by Carl Clown, and his second go-around with the Cowboys was here from 2003 to 2013. Took a little bit of hiatus, LARHON, to get back into the teaching world, and the pandemic happened. The vacancy opened up. And in 2020, said, all right, I'll come back a little bit. First year, winless. Second year, a 4-win team. Last year, 4-5 in district play, and now undefeated. It feels like things are really starting to come around for him again.
What I can tell you is what I witnessed at pre. This bunch seems spirited. So whatever Coach Clown has been selling, the players have been buying into. Because when you see guys wanting to play for one another, that's a sign of good coaching, that's a sign of community, and that's a sign of pride in your program. So we'll see how that turns out tonight. But regardless of the outcome, this is a playoff team. We know that for sure. So it'll be a quality game, and these are quality opponents.
And Alamo Heights coming in kind of needing that at this point. A lot of people, the criticism, if you will, and I say criticism kind of loosely, but more so kind of a skepticism about this Mules team was that, yeah, a couple weeks ago they beat Brackenridge 81-0. Last week, putting up 65 on the board against Highlands. But people are saying, well, those are not exactly the elite of the deals. 316 yards is the number, but I think what stands out to a lot of people going into this is that the special teams was good again. And in the first half of the game last week, every possession started across the 50. And more of the reason why this team has a winning record at this point. We'll find that out in just a moment. Alamo Heights football, a production of AH Sports Media. We'll step aside for the national anthem coming up next. Yeah, we're good. We can get the switches back. Yeah.
Can we sit right here?
Yeah.
Here we go, ALAMO Heights. And here we go.
Yeah, I'm like, we didn't know y'all were coming up here at all. That's why I had to go. Well, I mean, that's not, of course, because y'all were here at 5:30. Our coach were here at 5:30, so we do.
Okay, well, this is our home field.
I understand that, sir. I'm about to move, but I'm trying to explain to
figure it
your
out.
people who's in here.
I understand that.
So take it up with your people. They didn't know if you were coming or not.
Okay, well, we're asking you to move.
I understand that. I'm on the broadcast. I'm trying to acquiesce your request, and I'm trying to slide down. So you can hold the hang up.
Oh, I got you.
Ain't that serious? That's just rude to interrupt the broadcast. Love the Southern hospitality.
Single parent home, I apologize.
Good yourself.
It's been a while.
Yes,
Remember me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You want me to fold them in half, maybe? Or, yes, sir. We got booted to the corner, so we had to slide our stuff down. I was trying to call you in the middle of it. I can't hear you. Nope, this is dead. No, it's on. I don't know why I can't hear connection.
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite everyone to please rise, assuming you are able, and remove any hats as the McCOLLUM High School Color Guard presents the colors. Presented by McCOLLUM High School, the Army JROTC Color Guard, led by First Sergeant, retired Jeff Brown. Cadet Gabriela Garcia is commanding today's color guard team and bearing the U.S. colors. U.S. colors is being guarded by the Battalion Sergeant Major Cadet Raymond Villanueva. Cadet Kayla Mojica is bearing the Texas state flag. Texas state flag is being guarded by the Battalion Commander Cadet William Leja. And now, our national anthem.
Hitting touchdowns and some good old-fashioned football.
So Mule's going to open possession today, of course. Park Zunker and Trip Johnson back to return. Trip Johnson last week, a pair of touchdowns. We'll talk a little bit more about him as this broadcast continues. One of those, a punt return touchdown for a score. 3-0 Heights, 3-0 McCollum as the Cowboys try for a little bit of trickery. Does not pay off. It'll go right at the 40-yard line, which is where the Mules will take over in an offense orchestrated by their senior captain, Colin Ernst.
You know, I don't know if that was trickery, if that was planned. Whatever it is, it just starts them at R35 on the kickoff. I guess you have to pick your poison, right? Do you kick it to Trip and Mike, or do you kick it short, hope they bobble, we get it. If not, we know where they're going to get the ball around the 35.
Yeah, last week the big story was the special teams work, setting up field position. The entire first half, every possession, they took over on the plus side of the 50. And not bad starting possession here tonight, field position to start this game tonight. Going to be a 3-receiver set to open things up for Ernst. A fantastic week last week for the leading rusher in the district. And this is Arriaga holding on to it, going to go across midfield for a first down. Arriaga, first time since opening night that he's getting the start in the backfield. DK Garza and him essentially swapped, with Arriaga moving to middle linebacker, but he's the guy who gets the nod today, LARHON, and someone who has worked out very well at this point on both sides of the football field.
It's still shocking to see, though, because with Arriaga, he seems like a heavier back. DK's a speedster, get him on that perimeter to get that game started. Track meet fashion, but we'll see. Arriaga had a great first carry, so first down Mules.
Cullen Reynolds checking into the game early as well for Ernst. Another 2-receiver set back to the ground. Michael Terry runs into a host of green and gold, but still going to make a positive gain out of it. Terry actually quiet last week, LARHON. 5 touches against Highlands.
Yeah, not your normal Michael Terry night, but that's the measure of this team, right? Other people got the job done. He didn't have to do all the work, which is a great thing, right? Because you know he's a special player. You know he can turn it on when you need it. So why use it when you don't need it?
Still recorded a receiving touchdown in the 65-7 victory last week over the Owls. And just like that, the Mules all the way inside the McCollum 45-yard line. To the right side they go. Pass is complete to Hurtado. Gets a good block from Terry. Down the sideline he goes.
Ace.
Touchdown, Alamo Heights. A 43-yard catch and run for Josh Hurtado. His first of the season, and the Mules strike first.
Hey, not surprised. He's been working for that all week. I talked to Josh earlier this week, and he was clamoring. He's like, Mr. Fields, next time I get a catch, I'm trying to get to the house, and he made it to the house.
Yeah, first touchdown grab of the season for the senior, which now, if I'm not mistaken, brings the total of 10 players have scored a touchdown so far for Alamo Heights. We'll check that number in a moment. But Hurtado doing his job, the 5'9", 182, getting on the right side, anchored by a mediocre teacher. Suspect as to why he does. I'm just kidding. You do a great job.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you.
Don't let it get to your head, though.
Oh, I don't. Trust me. Humbled every day I go into class.
So the Mules will kick off to an offense, barring this thing getting returned back, to an offense that's been pretty productive so far this season, as Luke Landa with a handle on it. Landa gets to the outside, 36-yard line he goes, making something out of nothing. And what could have been a disastrous situation turns into reasonable Cowboys starting position on their opening possession.
Hey, we said this is going to be a ball game, and so far it's living up to it just after our possession, and now McCollum's kickoff return. You said it could have started out as a disaster as he bobbled the catch, but he got the ball all the way up to the 35, and now McCollum has great starting field position.
Something you're going to see. Go ahead.
No, Landa, he's the quarterback, he's a runner, so got to keep it out here and contain him.
Justin Rodriguez under center today, figuratively in this sense. And what you're going to see out of the Cowboys is a lot of what you're watching right now. That one to no avail. But they spread the offense out a little bit. You look at the numbers, it would kind of speak to a team that runs more. they're not afraid to have everybody touch the ball, wide receivers included. Luke Landa and Ernest Acuna both with touches last week on a 3rd down and 10 coming. Rodriguez to his left. He's got a man. Acuna couldn't get a handle on it. And 4th down upcoming for the Cowboys. So a good defensive stand for Alamo Heights after giving up a reasonable starting position for McCOLLUM.
Yes, that play right there came up a little bit short. It was great play design, but as you stated, the Alamo Heights Mules defense stood the test.
Special teams, fantastic last week for the Mules. There's no other way to put it, especially in the first half. And part of the reason, it was a 38-0 game going into the break, and the young man back to receive the kick. Maybe the biggest reason why, as the punt, this not a good one, off the side of the foot, Rodriguez. He's going to down it at the 30-yard line. Not ideal. Good starting field position by way of special teams, though not exactly the traditional way by special teams. Mules catch a break.
Yes, this was self-inflicted special teams, not us blocking the kick or returning the kick. But you know what? As a Mules fan, I'll take it.
We'll put an asterisk next to the good starting position by way of special teams when looking at this number a little bit later on. So Alamo Heights catching a break. Ball going to be spotted at the McCOLLUM 28-yard line. The defense, and we'll piggyback off this point a little bit, Michael Terry is going to line up at quarterback, and in the slot, it's Colin Ernst, the leading rusher on the season. The Mules, it takes them 3.5 minutes or so and up by 14 points. And that's your score where it stands right now. 14-0 in favor of Alamo Heights. McCOLLUM coming into this game, of course, 3-0 on the season. That's the big draw coming into this. 2 undefeated games for head coach Carl Klon in his rebirth, if you will. We like saying things for effect, you know?
Yes.
Rebirth.
Rebirth.
With McCOLLUM after a 7-year renaissance. I knew it was re-something. That's what we were looking for there. In his return to action, distantly the best team he's had so far, and something that he credits to both growth, experience, but just having a bunch of guys coming into this who buy in. And that's not necessarily saying the guys previous years didn't buy in, but this is a group that feels set, feels bought in, and part of the reason 3-0 in this early part of the season.
Hey, I'm sure this isn't the start he scripted or the start he hoped for. So I expect him to battle back right here. I don't think there's much quit or fight, lack of fight into them, so we'll see. Because it strung out to the sideline for so long, but it was fairly, sizable gain of 4 yards.
Numbers read very well for McCOLLUM. And last week, in their win over Edison, spoke exactly to that. A 500-plus yard performance, 380 of that on the ground, and their 62-15 win over Edison. As again, they spread it out a little bit. Talked about how they'll go every which way to get the ball to Dominic Zapata, that time out of the slot in motion. Positive gain, still going to bring up 3rd down. But that's a big reason why people are excited about this team. They're versatile offensively. They do a lot of good things offensively, and it showed. 3-0 to prove from it in this early part of the season.
Hey, good players make good plays, and that, again, gives you the option, an opportunity to win week in and week out, at least be competitive. So what I'll tell you is, from what we've seen, although it's not the start they wanted.
Martinez, a flag down, we'll see what it is.
They're probably going to call something to the fact against the Mules because I saw a player's helmet fall off, so who knows.
Yeah, last week, Alamo Heights reasonable on the penalty front, which was 7 for 50 last week for the Mules, and push this one back right on cue with the hold. So for the first time, and I guess in a first half in a week or so, Alamo Heights going to open with the ball off of a special teams return. On the negative side of the field, put it at the 27-yard line for Ernst and company, going back to work, trying to make it 3 for 3 in as many tries, LARHON, and it's to the ground they go. Ernst holding on to it, going to his right, gets a hole, gonna pick up the first down, staying on his feet. Ernst across midfield, just left of the 4. Scarza found the seam, but again, there was a reason why, so 15 yards heading back the other direction.
I couldn't tell if that was on the perimeter from the receiver or the lineman on the edge, but the hole was there, and he took advantage of it, and he got up. Unfortunately, it's all for naught, and knowing the Mules, we may run that same play again.
We talked about running towards the scoreboard. Harlandale Memorial Stadium is actually going through a pretty cool facelift right now, and they're hoping that by the end of this district play, the regular season, and you might be able to see some of it across your screen right now, those stands, they're not empty. I mean, they are empty, but to no fault of their own.
No.
A full-scale renovation on the far sideline, what was the home sideline, which includes a new press box, 3-level press box and suites. About those 10 guys so far on the Mules who have scored a touchdown this season, and it kind of continues the prevailing thought that a lot of people wondered into this, the Michael Terry and who else. Well, there's been a lot of who else so far this season through the first 3 games, and I'm not even sure Heights fans themselves, at least us up here, we were skeptical, and I say skeptical not in a negative sense, but how could you not be? And it's worked out well.
Valid questions, and now we've gone from who else to who hasn't, and that's where you want to be, and that's all we were asking. Like you said, it wasn't a negative question, it was just like really curious because this is a new team, right? Like we didn't have the data to support what we were saying. It was 3 returning starters of the whole varsity, so we need to know who's going to rise up, and it's been a myriad of different players.
Terry picking up the first down, spotted at the 27-yard line as the 3:52 mark and ticking in this first quarter. Testament to Ron Ritteman and Carl Klahn when we talked to him earlier on this week. Alluded to the fact that that's what's been a...
Don't like the hits he took, but he did make some progress. As you were saying, though.
No, that was it.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah.
You can piggyback off that thought if you have it.
Well, I do, and what I like is, you get this new team, and each week you've gotten better. You've shown different phases. So I know, as a football coach and coach period, all you're looking for is growth week to week. You're never who you're going to be in November or December. So for this team to keep growing every week and to find a way to get production from other players is always a solid feeling.
So spotted at the 9, 3rd time in as many tries. Heights inside the red zone, Heights inside the 10. The 3-receiver set they bring out there. Hurtado with the receiving touchdown today. He's in the slot. Up top they go. Ernst looking for Bennett Johnson. 0 for 2, bringing a 3rd down and 8 upcoming. Was minimal last week. We saw Bennett Johnson getting the targets, but having the height advantage, and clearly that was by design, operating that assumption so far today.
No, very much so by design. What I would like to see is a yellow flag on the ground for the hug goal line, because he did stick it in on the far left side.
And they decide to keep it.
Goal line, because he did stick it in on the far left side.
And they decide to keep it. A little bit of trickery. Flores using his feet, not the way he designed. Got hit by it, taken down in the end zone. It's going to be 22-0 after the 2-point conversion. Mules flying out of the gate already with a 3-score advantage 10 minutes into this football game, LARHON.
Well, this is not what I expected. Got to be honest. We look good. Again, McCOLLUM started off with some bad breaks. We've taken advantage of those breaks. Can't take the foot off the gas. You got to keep it moving and going. First quarter with 2 minutes and 1 second left. We're kicking the ball off. I expect McCOLLUM to respond here, and our defense has to settle in and be ready for the challenge.
So 2nd game in a row, Heights putting up 20-plus points in the first quarter of play. And trying to tack on more of the same from there. I think collectively this McCOLLUM crowd, I'm not sure they were anticipating right off the bat 3 hits, 1, 2, and 3, trying to get something going, because it's a good him. Was 5 of 7 on the day, passed for 113 and a pair of scores, and 90 yards on the ground. That's also kind of one of those things you have to look at with the numbers of these teams who have been winning and winning convincingly. You see last week, Michael Terry barely cracking the all-purpose 50-yard mark, but he only basically played a half. And so same kind of thing right here. Justin Rodriguez only threw seven passes, but another one of those abbreviated games. So it's kind of when you don't want to throw the stats out the window, but
you kind of almost
kind of have to.
You have to throw them out or understand the assignment, right? And in this case, it's the same for the Mules, same on our side. Like, McCollum came in this game thinking, hey, we're undefeated. Heights is undefeated. We've blown people out. So they're believing, right? Their fans are believing. Their fans have expectations. And like I said, here we go.
The fans have been feeling good about Zapata, the standout sophomore, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Cowboys. Dominic Zapata, a 69-yard score. And just like that, McCollum has a little bit of life. It's 22-6, standout sophomore doing the job.
It was a great run and great play call by McCollum. They got to the edge, and they let their players make plays, and he made one. Now the fans are re-energized, and they're feeling relaxed. They're feeling like they're back in it.
Yeah, coming off a week in which he was fantastic, had 7 carries at the 10-minute mark in the third quarter, 3 weeks in a row.
No.
It's surprising enough to have it 2 weeks in a row, let alone however many times during the season, and he knew that. And part of the reason there was such a big challenge, he was intrigued by this challenge coming into this football game, was that the way he sees it, with the way this team is currently constructed, they need adversity.
Yes.
They need adversity. They need to be in football games where they're still laboring in the fourth quarter.
I don't want to sound like the corny guy, right? But they needed that to happen to them, right? Defensively, because now you have something to watch on film. How did we let that happen? It's kind of hard to go and watch film and correct assignments week after week when you've won 70 to whatever, and the teammates, your teammates don't know how to react and respond to discipline. So we'll see how they come out this drive offensively. We know offense has been sharp. Defense needs to find an answer to why that happened, and I'm sure they'll get coached up because I know all the coaches on the defensive side are very into it and intense, and they will get it corrected. But again, you can't go to games thinking you're always going to blow people out and shut people out. So this is a good test.
So let's see how the Mules respond. Haven't allowed a touchdown that long, actually all season, from the line of scrimmage, that is. Last week, special teams gave one up to Willie Gaskin, as Ernst holding on to it on the RPO, staying alive at the 50 to the 45, stiff arm, and takes it on the other side of the 40. Laundry all over the field. It looks like there might be some additional yardage tacked on. Defender might have got a piece of that face mask, but either way, at worst for the Mules, this ball is going to be spotted on the right side of the 40. More of the same from Colin Ernst.
His wheels have gone round and round like the school bus. He's getting yardage this year. It would be hard-pressed to see this man contained because he's very agile. He's very shifty. Let's see what this laundry on the field's about. You know my feeling when I see people in stripes huddled up. It's a fashion faux pas, in my opinion.
You didn't send the Referees Association a edible arrangement last week for National Officials Day or whatever it was?
That was last week. We're on a new week, so I can't go back in time.
But to answer the question, no, you did not last week. And
I will not confirm or deny any of those sentiments.
Oh, man. Talking about Ernst, numbers coming into today, leading the 14-5A D2 with 376 rushing yards. Penalty on the play. It is going to be a face mask, so put on an additional 15 and the hit out of bounds on top of that. So Heights is going to be moving the right direction. When it's all said and done, this is going to be a big-time gain. We'll see where they spot it.
If it's a face mask, is it 10 or 15, right?
Like 15.
It's a personal foul. So that's an extra large gain.
So yeah, we'll see where they spot this. Either way,
23.
The mathematicians here on the call tonight at Harlandale. An early movement.
Right.
I think the Mules moved. They did push it back 5 yards.
Wow. How do you call a false start and you just got set ready for play? We must have flinched a little. Maybe the wind blew us back.
There's a strong wind tonight.
There is a strong wind.
There's a real strong wind tonight. One of the strongest breezes we've had in recent memory. Don't ask me how fast it is or anything like that, because I don't have that answer.
Neither do I. And I'm not complaining because it's a breeze rather than just heat.
Two receiver set for Ernst. As back to the ground they go. This is Arriaga. Cuts to the inside, to the goal line. He dives.
Oh.
No whistle yet. Looks like it's going to be short. Michael Terry behind him has his hands up saying stripes do the same. Not going to do it, though. But either way, a first down and an and goal situation at the 1 when we come back. Fun first quarter of play tonight here at Harlandale Memorial Stadium. Mules 22, McCollum 7. You are watching Alamo Heights Football, a production of AH Sports Media.
They're listening to you. Tell camera 2 to get in position and tell camera 3 to get in position.
We have 3 different broadcasts that our students are responsible for. We have one broadcast on the Jumbotron during the game. We have our YouTube channel that we're broadcasting on. And then we have our Texas Sport Production partnership where our game is featured on BGC, KSAT, big game coverage. We not only do the broadcast, but we also go out and feature all the sports.
Score advantage and more whistles on the play. And another false start upcoming, so Heights not doing themselves any favors. Second time on this drive, they've had a false start penalty.
Something that definitely has to be addressed and cleaned up, right? You know, these again, that's why you play these games. Something you have on film, something you can coach up. I know that we have Conway Hamilton back, so I'm not blaming him for this. I'm saying it's you got the line's been shuffled in and out, so maybe the continuity is an issue.
You know, talk about that offensive line in a moment as more movement again.
So I'm starting to think it's not false starts because that's the second time I've seen the defense knock over a Alamo Heights Mule. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Yeah, this McCollum defense, especially on the defensive line, is good and it's experienced. And another 5 yards, another false start, moving the opposite direction. This McCollum defensive line, Jared Ross Johnson, Joseph Saldana, and Seth Hernandez, all upperclassmen. The only sophomore there, the only junior there is 50 Saldana. So there is a lot of experience in this front 7. Even beyond that, his extra point is off, so it'll stay at 28-7. Second extra point missed in as many weeks after connecting on the first 13. But he ran into 2 anyway, so you give him a pass, I guess. But this McCollum defense, you look at the numbers, and it kind of speaks to philosophically the way that they've been playing. Very aggressive front 7. And on the contrary, with a very aggressive front 7, leads to a lot of big plays. Hit a pause button on that thought 1 second. We're keeping an eye on Ron Rittiman over there on the sideline, having a conversation with the entire officiating crew. I didn't catch what has them bothered. Did you catch what?
It went back to when I was alluding to with the false starts. There weren't false starting. It was the McCollum Cowboys defensive line were pushing the Alamo Heights linemen back, and the officials for some reason thought that was a false start. And that's what Ron had a problem with when he talked to before we got the touchdown was what was happening. So, and I don't know if that last play that had Colin Ernst, if there was a horse collar particularly, because he did grab him from the back. So it could be a myriad of things that are going on in this conversation. I'm just speculating.
No, but that kind of speaks to the previous touchdown on the far side of the field. The Terry run last quarter was kind of a collective pause on the play where everyone wondered what it was. So that might have been Heights wondering where the offside was, if there was contact there. That's about as hot as you'll see Ron get.
Everybody likes equality, right? They want equitable. You know, if your kids do something wrong, Ron will be the first one to correct it. But if he doesn't think what he
in the notes as to the outside on the move go the Cowboys. Staying up, staying with it is Javier Martinez, one of their fullbacks doing the job. Not your classic fullback, if you will. He's got that burst of speed upwards towards midfield. And so the Cowboys continuing to build where they left off last possession. And timeout Heights going to be their first. But it seems like they found something.
Either they found something or we aren't doing our job. I mean, that's still finding something, right? But it doesn't seem they're not running any trickeration, right? It's just a play that they're running outside, and we're not getting to our keys. So maybe this is that gamesmanship that happens from week to week where Coach Klon and his offensive scheme has said, let's add a blocker or let's do a different set of lineups that's confusing our mules. And now this timeout is to settle everybody down, coach them up, and hopefully they can get back to assignment football.
Yeah, Coach Klon at Roosevelt, a long time in various roles before coming over for the first time in 2003. 2003 to 2013 he was here before retiring for 7 years and focusing solely on his teaching here at McCollum High School before the pandemic happened. And you know those pandemics, your run-of-the-mill pandemics happen, and they just kind of make you reflect on a lot of things, and by all accounts that appears to be the case. He wanted to come back, and here we are doing a good job in year 4.
You know, as a former coach myself, you get an itch, right? It's hard to do, you know, you're in a routine all your life as a coach. You know what Fridays smell like, you know what off season smells like, you know what summer smells like, and then you don't do it for 7 years. And you're like, man, I just want to go back again. And the pandemic, he went in not knowing the pandemic was happening, but I'm sure he's glad to be where he's at.
To open this series where they spotted at the 37-yard line. Ernst's going to hold on to it. To the right side he goes. Gang tackle coming, gets on the good side of the 35. Feel for Robert Mickler a little bit. And I say feel a little bit loosely. Because, yeah, he's getting on the field, but 2 weeks ago, he was on the field at quarterback for one play, threw a touchdown pass. Last week, he was on the field for one play, had about a 15-yard run in which he dragged every Highlands Owl with him for about every second of those yards. Didn't see a play under center again after that. You know, cold world.
It's a cold world, but it's almost like I don't want to unleash your beast yet. Let's bottle this. Let's get you some game experience, make you a better quarterback for next year or whatever the case is. But he does have a different skill set than Colin Ernst, right? And it's not broke, don't break it. Colin didn't get any special favors last year with Colin McKenna. He had to sit behind Michael Terry and Conley. He went in for mop duty, so who knows what the rite of passage is at quarterback at Alamo Heights. But I'll take what I'm looking at.
Yeah, Brady Penny, the third stringer. You know what? Maybe this is by design because you look at him on the field right now, Mickler, that is. Notable thing there, he's wearing 2 gloves. So that would kind of insinuate, one, that he's probably, unless he's going the Kurt Warner route, which he's not on a 95-degree day in San Antonio. But that would also insinuate that this might be a continuous thing of him lining up in the tight end, lining up in the slot, offering that extra protection. We'll see. As Ernst's going to throw it this time, has got Terry in a double team. Did he hold on? He did. Michael Terry, second score of the game, 34-7 Alamo Heights.
That was a risky throw, but what Michael Terry did on that play is what I needed Bennett Johnson to do earlier. He went after it. Colin Ernst threw I wouldn't call it a back shoulder fade. He just threw it short, and Mike Terry went and made the play and made it easy like Sunday morning.
Yeah, Terry needing every bit of that 6'3" frame. Of course, 6'3", 208, going back on the play, a little bit underthrown. But when you got big number 2 over there who's able to do things like that, that's the luxury of what you have. So another hookup between the two. First time it was Terry to Ernst. That time Ernst to Terry. Extra point good. 36-0. The Mules extend the advantage.
I think the Alamo Heights Mules are fired up, Casey. I'm just hearing the sideline chatter since we're in the makeshift press box. We get more action.
More authenticity.
Yeah, more authenticity. Definitely.
That's what makes it fun, right?
It does make it fun because you get a near the coach's press box anyway, in what they're thinking. Offensively, 7-point touchdown really hurt their feelings, and now they took it personally.
Yeah, it's a good energetic crowd today.
Let me ask you this: if you're McCollum, there's 9:51 left in the second. Do you want a long drive and end with a kick, or do you want a one-hitter quitter? At this stage, what do you think helps them out?
It's a good question. I would say the latter, only because that seems to be working.
Drain the clock, give them a little bit of time. You get the ball back. You kind of can, make it competitive again. If you score quickly, you give us time, Heights time to go score again, and just neutralizes what you just did.
The lefty Rodriguez dealing, looking for Zapata, incomplete.
Is that the first pass of the game?
Second.
Second pass of the game. Oh, yeah, right. We had the incomplete on third down.
So Rodriguez 0 for 2 on the day. The lefty, Justin Rodriguez, coming into tonight, the junior quarterback. Really impressive numbers for McCOLLUM. On the year, 15 of 22 passing. Hasn't thrown an interception yet to his 4 touchdowns. 172 on the ground with a pair of touchdowns. A good, versatile quarterback. And he's a lefty, and everyone loves a lefty, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they're on your team, because if not, it messes you up on defense. You're trying to figure out the angle of the ball being thrown. You just have to change everything you do.
It's back to the ground they go. Not a whole lot going on. Got to bring up a 3rd and long. Part of the reason I think why Coach Klon is feeling good is because you look on that offensive line, and the one common suit you see all across the board: class of 24, class of 24, class of 24, class of 24, fill in the blank, class of 24. All 5 starting linemen are seniors. And so when you have a quarterback who's seeing 5 seniors out there, you're feeling, okay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. I feel good about this thing. When you have a young tailback like they have in Dominic Zapata as a sophomore, you got 5 big guys in front of you like that who have been doing this a long time from a high school sense. you feel good. But I think Coach Klon over there knows. I mean, it's kind of teetering towards dangerous territory. We talked about a 4-touchdown lead. Well, it's still a 4-touchdown deficit that you're facing. You'd rather not be facing that. No kidding, Casey, I know. So 3rd down and 10 from the 33 upcoming. As it's Rodriguez, rush coming, gets it off in time, had a couple defenders in his face, got a man, and gets the 1st down. Luke Landa cutting back. Rodriguez doing a good job keeping the play alive. Had a host of white jerseys in his face, but makes the play, and the ball moving in the right direction. Good job by the junior quarterback keeping the play alive.
If Landa is their Mike Terry, I haven't heard his name enough. So, again, I don't like to be critical of anybody, but I got to ask questions. That's my job. Why haven't we seen enough of him, right? Like, run the ball, he's on return. If he's your playmaker, goes both ways. I want to see that man make special plays. But for the sake of the Mules, I'm glad they're not unleashing their beast.
Perhaps that's what they are conversing about.
It potentially, right? But you just need the timeout to know that. You've had that. Their O-line is all seniors. They ran the ball. So sometimes I just look at players got to make plays, spread the wealth, and let's get it going. But right now we need the Mules defense to buckle up and slow down the Cowboys.
Have it in my notes written down verbatim as it pertains to Luke Landa. Big hitter. That would play to your point. So let's see if they go back to their big bopper on A.
They're driving. This is their 2nd or 3rd first down on their drive. As a coach, you always preach your offense. Get 2 first downs, and we go from there. That way you can flip the field. The field has been flipped. Let's see what takes place on this play.
Rodriguez going to his right, looking for Ernest Acuna. Pass is incomplete.
Receiver couldn't hold us to the
Blake
ball.
Killian getting
Blake Killian with the hit.
in the way.
Blake Killian there defensively on the incomplete pass. Brings up 2nd and 10.
Blake Killian, senior quarterback, one of the more notable players in that secondary. Really, the entire secondary has been played very well so far for Heights. This senior, 5'11", 175, number 32. So 2nd and 10 upcoming. This is Rodriguez. Blitz coming, throws it up to no man's land. Pass is incomplete. Little bit of a reckless play. That might have been one of the plays you just wanted to eat it, lose the battle right there either way. McCOLLUM has that ball hit the ground. Third down upcoming. Heights bringing the pressure that time, LARHON.
Lauren Christensen got in that backfield really fast, and he's a tall guy. So when you say throw up the no man's land, you're absolutely right. That was probably, I wouldn't say it was the best decision because you don't know who was in that secondary, but that's the decision he made, and he stuck to it. Can't blame him.
That's the third time that we've seen Heights bring extra pressure so far in this first half.
You almost have to on a passing down like that and know it rattles the quarterback, and you're trusting your DBs on that island.
Rodriguez on a third down. It's to the ground they go. They might have overthought that one just a little bit, but either way, a 3rd and 10, Rodriguez, no gain. So we'll see what Carl Klon decides to do in this situation. Broken play?
No,
You
looked
think
like
that
a
was by
design. Yeah, they were hoping.
It's worked particularly well so far against this Heights team. Not just for McCOLLUM, for a lot of people.
For all the opponents. And I think sometimes what happens as a coach, you get stuck on tradition. You get stuck on this is how we play, right? And you don't focus that the task at hand this week is different than any other week you play. And in that case, sometimes you have to have more joker in your game plan and less, as you called, conservative.
Big time breeze just slicing through the south side of San Antonio. Wind in the forecast, gusts in the forecast, and they have arrived. Very much so, in loud fashion. 2nd and 4 upcoming for Colin Ernst and company as we tick to the 4:40 mark in the first half. He's going to pass to his left. He goes. This is Bennett Johnson across the 40. Going to pick up the first down and a little bit more. Gets to the outside. Flag on the play. Johnson's going to score. Bring it back. We would operate under that assumption. Michael Terry looked like he got a little bit greedy, knocking down some McCOLLUM
what
jerseys
happens
and
is
bring the
every
ball
week
back.
we talk about this. Some teams hit the weight room for will, and some people walk by the weight room, and the refs can't handle that. So they throw the yellow laundry, and it gets personal. Like, I don't understand it. If we were in the NFL, that wouldn't have been a flag. If we were in college, that would have been a flag because both people hit the weight room. In this case, it happens every week, and I'm still trying to figure out the secret sauce to why. Like, it's just muscles on muscles. But sometimes they take it personal. Like, he was on the track squad. So shout out to Bennett Johnson on that one. Unfortunately, it didn't count.
Yeah, it's now become apparent it's been very much by design to get Bennett Johnson the ball because the first 2 times they looked towards him, you know, you wonder if that's merely coincidental. But now the third time like that, as to the left, Ernst goes.
He stepped out.
Stepping out of bounds for the Mules. It's Kingston Kennan on the play. So Kennan almost breaking one off himself. But either way, Ron Riddiman will take the first down. The ball moving in the right direction.
Hey, that was a good throw. That was a nice pitch and catch. Once again, another Mule receiver stepping up. That may have been his 2nd catch of the season, but this is in real action. I think his first catch was in against Brackenridge when it was already out of hand.
Junior 5'9", 160 is, well, we'll see what this is and more flags on the field, and it looks to be the false start variety, and it is. Trying to see what Coach Riddiman is saying after that, because if that was in fact the talking point with the officiating crew previously, he seems pretty even keel about that one. So push Heights back another 5 yards as we tick to the 3-minute mark after the false start. 35-7 your score. Heights with the advantage, trying to move to 4-0 on this season, 3-0 in district play. Left side of the ground, Terry, they go. Terry slices a couple defenders to the outside. Touchdown, Michael Terry, 4th score of the game. Heights starting to break this game open, 41-7. Mules extend the advantage.
You know, not that I'm speechless, right? I'm just trying to find the soliloquy set of words that fit the occasion. Last year we had the same kind of week 4 build-up, like, hey, this is going to be the game that pushes the Mules. I still contend this game has done that. Like, McCOLLUM got our attention, and we're just doing what we do when we're pressed. So I like what I'm seeing. I don't like the penalties. I don't like the sloppiness in that aspect. But I know it's going to get cleaned up. Something, again, Coach Rodman is great at. He will find a way. For him and his coaching staff will tidy all this up. I just like to see that we're seeing a variety of athletes on our team, offensively and defensively, making plays.
It doesn't feel like this game should be 42-7, right?
I was going to say that a minute ago, but I didn't want to.
For Flores, perhaps overthinking things a little bit, trying to keep the ball out of the hands of Landa. I'm operating under that assumption. I have no idea if that's a conversation they're having. But either way, second possession in as many tries that the ball's kicked out of bounds.
That's all we have as assumptions right now, Casey. As the high school media goes, everything is tight-lipped. You're only given what you're given, which isn't much. So we're making lemonade out of lemons, and right now I'm going with your lemonade assumption.
Keen.
I know when I talked to him last time, because I had an assumption, he told me, oh, no, that was by design. We practiced that. And I was like, okay, thank you, Linus, but it didn't look like it, so I thought I'd ask. We were confused in the press box.
That's the way it went, huh?
That's exactly how it went.
That's exactly how it went.
So this could all be by design.
Huh. It's worked. I mean, Ron Ritterman has pretty much called all the right buttons. Jordan Ricker, D coordinator, pushing all the right buttons there as host of tacklers getting in the backfield.
I look at it like this, right? Not to belabor the point, but if you kick it out of bounds, what can't they do? Return it for a touchdown. Best case scenario, they get good field position. As you saw that last defensive stand, they pushed it back. So that's a moot point at that fact.
What's the respect they have for Landa, too, which kind of makes it equally as confusing as to why, and again, it's easy for us to say up here in the moment, as to why he hasn't been utilized a little bit more on the McCOLLUM side of things. Because I'd imagine part of the reason they keep pooching it to the 30 is to keep it out of his hands. So there is clearly a respect there. Interesting why they haven't going back to is Rodriguez got to pick up the first down.
Short.
That's Gabriel Escobar, wide receiver, tight end. Chance for the Cowboys to get a little bit of momentum heading into half. Instead, in all likelihood, it's going to turn into plus field position for Heights by the end of this with one last chance to try to pile onto the advantage.
Look, I'm more curious about the spotting of the football than I am any of that, because he was tackled at the 19. They're calling for momentum at the
30.
29. So now, according to the PA, it was a McCOLLUM timeout. So are they trying to go for it?
No, because that would be 4th and 17, I think, upcoming.
That's what it
Yeah,
looks
4th
like.
and 17, 4th and 18. Yeah, 4th and 17, ball spotted on the 30 upcoming.
The wind is swirling. Maybe they get a lucky bounce. If we get a good return here, offense is going out.
End
Nice
over end
kick.
kick. Rodriguez, solid punt there. It's Trip Johnson going to take it at the 30, cut back to the inside, looking for the outside where he's tripped up. More flags on the play. We'll see if this is a block in the back. Either way, some extracurricular activity. If it stays Heights way, they'll pick it up at the 45-yard line. But generally speaking, of this variety, it'll be against the return team. It is, so block in the back, push the ball back, where the ball will be spotted at the 35 or so. Talking about Trip Johnson, haven't done a whole lot of that today. We did a lot of that last week.
Yes, sir.
Had a receiving touchdown, had a return touchdown. The return
And that's the whole spirit of this team. It's a lot of teaching going on. A lot of first-time players playing on varsity. So some of the mistakes we're seeing tonight are going to be teachable moments in film. Even though when you're watching this broadcast and you see the score, don't think that this is a perfect performance. It's just a performance that's working on being perfected.
Nothing important or notable about that for the Mules, at least from a positive yardage standpoint, as Terry is crushed in the backfield. Loss of 3 on the play. Mules going to take a timeout with 5 seconds left. We'll see if they add any more time to it. But 5 seconds left, which would pretty much tell you it's going to be one play and head to the locker room.
Definitely. They may take
advantage.
a knee here, or they may go deep. What this whole drive right here gives you, right, is film. We have not seen them in a 2-minute drill all season. We've not seen them have to push the ball down in this fashion with the clock behind you all season. I was in my head thinking, oh, maybe they're trying to get it to a reasonable down and distance for a field goal kick because it was 30 seconds at the time that they got the ball snapped before the loss. So we'll see what they do here. You got house money.
I was going to say, maybe if it was going the other way, they would have been more aggressive.
With the
But
win?
With this win, yeah. With this win, it makes it all but impossible to kick anything outside the 10.
Definitely. It is swirling, so you don't really get a sense of the direction of which way it's blowing. They don't have the flags on the field goal post, so I can't tell you if it's east or west or north or south. We just know that where we're sitting, you can feel the swirl. And did I just see a drop of precipitation, or was that somebody sweating above us?
I don't know. I hope there's nobody above us. They're not long for being up there if there's something.
that she wrote.
It's a great day to be a mule.
About 2 more times.
Colorado or South
No,
Carolina?
South Carolina, Georgia. I think I'm gonna whoop them so bad it ain't gonna be funny.
That she wrote.
We have about 90 seconds underway here at Harlandale Memorial Stadium. ALAMO Heights with the ball over McCollum. 42 in a game hyped tremendously, and understandably so. 3-0 teams, 2-0 in the 14-5 AD2. Had all the makings of something that was going to be special tonight here at Harlandale Memorial Stadium. But through the first 24 minutes of play, LaRon, it's been anything but that. Entirely one-sided. Part of the reason Heights for the 3rd week in a row has a 30-plus point lead heading into the 3rd quarter.
Deja vu. It's amazing that self-inflicted wounds from the other team has happened week after week. It's amazing that the Mules have not slowed down their jaunt on offense, their points overall. Listen, I was talking about the total, right? Like 49 points. So, and maybe I'm speaking into existence. It'll be 49, and hopefully it's Trip Johnson.
Yeah, 4 scores for Michael Terry. 2 on the ground, 1 in the air, and a passing touchdown. That first touchdown pass to McCollum. Part of the reason why we're looking at a 42-7 advantage. Again, 3rd consecutive week that Alamo Heights comes out of the halftime break with a 30-plus point lead. And on the other side of the football, for this McCollum team, this McCollum offense, we came into this really with a lot of our notes highlighted with one guy after another saying, big hitter, guy who can make a big play, a running back who has just been electric in his sophomore season. But collectively, it feels like there's been a sense of, not reservation, but the aggressiveness, and maybe this is a testament to Heights, the aggressiveness hasn't entirely been there in this play. I think it'll be interesting to see on the other side whether or not that's coming. And in coming into this football game, I don't think either of us thought this could potentially be one of these running clock games by the 3rd quarter. But here we are, 1 more touchdown on the board for Heights, and we'll be looking at a running clock in this 3rd quarter of play. Luke Lando takes it up to the 15, and that is where Justin Rodriguez will go back to work trying to get some sort of spark going, LaRon.
Yep, Luke Lando was there, was trying to make a play. He took the ball and he went. He almost would have liked him just to down it in the end zone because that's the least he would have got at the 25, right? But he's trying to make a play. He's a guy on this team that they really rely on, and he wants to probably help his team out.
It hasn't been an immaculate game for Heights so far defensively. They've been prone to a big play. Dominic Zapata with the lone score for the Cowboys, which came in the form of a 69-yard touchdown score. But while the scoreboard does, of course, read the advantage, and the Heights defense has certainly played well enough to be leading in this game, the 35-point deficit was in part to some sloppiness on the Cowboys' end.
Yes.
On the special teams, fumbling the handoff, getting hit on a big third down as Zapata, the running back, sophomore, down on the play. But this felt very much like a game where the Cowboys haven't entirely been void of offense. They've been moving the ball. They've just little missteps here and there that a team like Heights, when they get the chance to capitalize, they will. Looking like a team that's going to put 81 on the board, a team that's going to shut you out. He wants to see this team be vulnerable. And at moments, they did look vulnerable defensively so far today. You know, credit to them. They made the play when they did to capitalize on that, but that's the type of thing Ron Ritterman wants to see, and he's getting it.
Well, you can't expect every week to go in and a team not test your mettle or a team not score on you, right? I don't want to say we're spoiled, but that's what we've been privy to. What you want to see is how you respond. They gave up the one lone touchdown that was a big gainer. And we've only seen one big game play since that, and that just went for a first down, and then the second set of first downs. But then the play was shut down. So I will say they passed the sniff test in the first half. They didn't let that one touchdown bring them down. They still stayed up and positive. They still played their assignments. We saw Lauren Christian bust to the backfield, get the potential sack, having the quarterback thrown off his back foot in the no man's land. So they're doing their job. My biggest thing coming in the game was, what will the secondary do? Will they be able to hold up? They really haven't been tested. So here's where we stand.
So 3rd and 6 coming out of the timeout. That was a Cowboys timeout. So a 3rd and 6 on the 19, just a couple minutes into this third quarter here at Harlandale Memorial Stadium over on the south side of San Antonio, as Christensen bringing the heat. Pass was complete. It was a catch on the play, but it's going to be well short of the first down. Punt team on for the Cowboys. Christensen has done a good job getting through that big offensive line today. He has been Rodriguez's business all night long, and that's a good offensive line.
It is. He seems like he's taking today personal, because I've not seen him this far up all season. He's had some good plays here and there, but today he seems like to be a factor on defense.
I would say the past 2 weeks, probably the best football he's played all season, with the sack last week. And now has been very active getting into the backfield this week. Trip Johnson's going to fair catch it at the 43-yard line, where the Mules will regain possession there on the good side of the field for them. For Colin Ernst and company, Ernst in the first half. And I'm going to he was out last week. Has been a little bit limited today. But let's see what we got. Let's try something new. Let's continue to expand our options. Option worked.
Worked real well.
It almost
works too well, because I mean, I'm not a clock operator, but that was what, 8 seconds? That was a bull ride. And that's another Mule that's just scored a touchdown on the season. Starting to lose track on my fingers, because we've got more people that have scored than I've got fingers.
11.
Yes,
I think that's.
I'm not throwing another one on.
11, I think that's the number.
It may be 12.
I think it's 12.
We have to count
Several.
it up. It's definitely several.
More than one.
More than 5. We can say that.
More than 5. You know what that's important too, though, LaRon?
Tell me.
Not wishing it for anyone, but it's part of sports. Injuries happen.
They do.
And when you're thinking as big as Alamo Heights is thinking, winning at the level, being one of the last teams standing, competing for a state championship, to be playing
slightly to it. That's the beauty of this season and this team. You don't know. Although we have I don't want to call him a star, but we have the guy that we know is that guy in Mike Terry. It's refreshing to know that you can plug and play from offense to defense and vice versa, and guys are making plays. Not a senior-laden team, so when you see this, it's just overall like a joy to watch. Sometimes you get lost in the process, right? But like you said, if the goal is to beat Arlington, this is what you need. Weapons galore.
Aaron Silva, the tackle, taking down Rodriguez, 4-yard pickup on the play. Every week we talk to Coach, and every week the conversation always kind of ends with, man, that's Coach speak. That was 25 minutes of Coach Rittiman saying all of the things you would expect a head coach to say. As coach not going to feel particularly thrilled about this, getting to the outside, plus gainer on the play. That is Jason Morera to the left side with the big gainer. But what he always kind of alludes to is that, Ron Rittiman that is that he wants to see continuous growth. He wants to see these guys play well, even more so than the end result, which is, of course, important. But he wants them to be a three-receiver set to Rodriguez's right. Got Morera in motion. Again, back to the ground they go. That time, it's Nathan Moreno, the plus gainer. First time we've seen him touch the ball today.
McCollum seems like they're adding in new players here in that backfield. They're going to their bread and butter, and they're buttering that bread real well.
Yeah, and that was one of the big talking points coming to into this for McCollum was they have a lot of guys who can do good things on the football field. You know, Nate Moreno, one of those guys, had a touchdown. We haven't even talked about J.P. Fisher. He had 3 scores last week. Their big short yardage back has been very effective. But we'll see what they build off of here. And quite on the contrary, I think if you're Carl Klon, you're using this time right now to try new things like this, to see if you can find something. With this game pretty much starting to look like it's out of reach at 49-7, you're starting to see the rest of the way what you have in your pocket, what things work, what's not working. It's kind of the gift and the curse of having these games being out of hand. Yeah, you're going to take the loss in all likelihood, barring something wild. Second score of the year, cracks over 100 yards receiving on the year. So put it 7 on the board for McCollum as it's now back to a 49-14 game. But there you go. When it comes to what Ron Rittiman likes to see, and I say likes relatively broadly here, was his team facing adversity and how they respond. So next go around, he's going to be looking at this defense saying, all right, well, they just moved the ball very convincingly on you last possession. How do you stop that?
Definitely. This will be a great film session for them to watch tape of that. If there's ever a weakness on a defense, it's stopping the run, because sometimes you have line schemes and run schemes that are just hard to stop for high school defenses, and that one will be good to watch on tape and see how they can fix that for future, right? Because you don't want to also give your future opponents
a little bit of momentum. And on the topic
Nice
of
touch.
offense, Ernst's going to air it out deep and nearly hauling it in. Flag on the play. Colin Reynolds going full extension for it. Looks like they're going to call a PI. We'll operate under that assumption. I'm not entirely sure. From this distance, it looks like the Mules might have got the beneficiary of the whistle. We'll find out if that is the case. From up here, it looked clean. At least to me, I'm not sure. About you, LaRon, I don't want to speak for you.
Well, I mean, you saw clean. I thought you mean it was a clean hug, because that's really what it was. The way the ball was thrown and how we had to come back to it, so there was some contact. The separation was not there, so interpretation to the Z.
Maybe it came beforehand? I don't know, either way.
What? Some confusion here. I don't see anything moving. No steps, so they wave off the flag.
Yeah, so they pick up the flag.
Yeah, again, that's not rocket science. How do you throw a flag if you didn't see nothing?
This isn't correct, because if there was no flag, this should be second down. Arriaga touched the ball. We have seen DK Garza touch the ball. Michael Terry, Will Broderick, of course, Colin Ernst. Options. Give yourself options. That's what they've been doing today. A 3rd and 2 on upcoming.
You're only as faithful as your options, and luckily Ron has options, so faithful as are we. I will say McCollum got some good penetration that last possession on second down, but we still were able to move the chain forward.
It's Terry picking up the first down and pushing the pile a little bit more. Sea of gold helmets. The gold on gold combination. We haven't talked about that today as well. Gold helmet on gold helmet combination tonight.
McCollum's look a little bit shinier, but I don't know if that's because they're under the lights right now. But yeah, the gold on gold, gold and green, gold and blue. My preference would be the gold and blue, just because. Yeah, I know he talked about. Sometimes it's like when they break, they break. Yeah. And our jaunt down is the same as like here where I can just get to the field in 2 seconds.
So what do you think?
Yeah, I
You
can
wanna
do
go
that.
back down to 2 or then?
No, I go in the break. And at home we'll just have to have the kids grab coach. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm just saying, I normally go down.
I'll let you know. Whatever you think. Fourth quarter set to get underway. A 1st and 10 upcoming. Mickler into the game. As to the ground they go. Going to be a gain of about 5. Robert Mickler, the junior reserve quarterback. Thrown 1 pass on the season. That was a touchdown pass. But as we've seen at length today, Ron Rittiman has been trying to get the big guy on the field. Coming in, standing. 4 of the 5 starters heading into the season are back. Jackson Moore still remains out.
I'm still confused what the penalty was. I saw like false start, motion signal.
They're just checking all the boxes tonight.
We're
Going,
getting them.
cycling through.
Gotcha.
Whatever one they want to come to, that's what they go with, right?
Yes, sir. now we're the 3rd and long.
3rd and 9 from the 44 upcoming for the Mules. 10:50 to go in this one.
Let's see if Mickler gets a pass play in this set.
And just getting it off before the play clock ticks away. This is Aiden Villarreal into the game. Picks up a couple yards, not much more than that. So you would operate under the assumption a punt upcoming for the Mules, which would bring Michael Terry a receiving touchdown today in addition to his passing touchdown. We've seen guys like Park Sunker with a score, Patrick Arriaga with a score, DK Garza with a score. More versatility on the offensive end, more blue and gold bodies touching the ball, putting the ball in the end zone, and that's what the script reads, a 49-14 advantage here with 9:56 left to go here in week 4 at Harlandale Memorial Stadium.
I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a fake punt here, Casey. Not to rub it in, but just to keep the ball in your possession. It's 4th and give or take 11. No, wait. Why
About
the
8.
4th and 8? You know.
Yep, and there's Terry right on cue. LaRon called it.
Up, roll
He's
out.
at least going to hold it and let it marinate a little, because of course still a lot of big football left for McCollum, and a team that is very much going to be in the conversation of the playoff hunt this season. Jesus Molina is the backup, the senior. As a timeout, McCollum will take a timeout. Their 2nd of 3 in their pocket. Next up for Alamo Heights is their last game before the bye week. That's next Friday against Burbank, which will be at SAISD Sports Complex, followed up by a bye. So the Mules probably have about the ideal bye of what you'd want this season, somewhere in the middle. You take somewhere that week 5, week 6 range, you'll take that. But that'll be coming week 6, should say, right? We're week 4.
We're week 4.
We're
That'll
week
be
4.
Week
Next week
6
will be
bye.
5, and the bye is week 6.
Come out of the bye, week 7. You play Jefferson. It's homecoming. Then you
First
play
home
9,
game.
10.
It'll be the first home game in a month.
Yeah.
Acuna going to pick up the first down and a little bit more. Puts a stiff arm on the defender and crossing midfield just where they'll spot it. So, did I say Harlandale?
I think you did.
School plays for Harlandale ISD. I meant McCollum. Harlandale was
McCollum.
fresh on the mind. But point being, though,
I may have confused because I was talking about the Frontier Bowl and I was saying Harlandale and McCollum on the same side may not be a good idea.
Harlandale's probably got the best pure quarterback
Yes.
in Jacob Saucedo over there.
We see them in 3 weeks, 3 game weeks.
Yeah.
Here, right back here at
Right
Harlandale
back
Memorial
here.
Stadium.
To which we are told that the fancy construction zone opposite of your screen will host a freshly minted bleachers, if you will. I wonder if that'll be the first game that they open it, as Rodriguez going to hold on to that. Touchdown, Cowboys. Justin Rodriguez, 13-yard score, 49-20, as the big lefty doing what he does, holding on to the football, putting points on the board.
Again, an opportunity for the defense to get stuff on film, correct their mistakes, and not let that happen again next week.
Yes, touchdown of the season for the lefty. So to reset, that's where it's 49-21, the advantage with 6:55 left to go. Go ahead.
When we wake up in the morning, I know young folks don't look at the newspaper, but you know, when I was a kid, you always wanted to look at the scores for Friday night in the paper. But as you go on your app and you're looking at the scores, this score, if it stands as is, what would you glean from it?
What would I take from it?
Yeah, would you say, oh man, that game must have been competitive early, and Alamo Heights pulled away?
Well,
late?
looking at the numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Colin Ernst back, calling the fair catch on the punt, on the kickoff. I would think so. But we said when this game was 42-7, it didn't feel like this was a game that played out at 42-7.
No, it felt like it was 42-21.
Yeah.
At that moment.
But that goes to show you, though, those 2 turnovers that they did have, or 1 turnover and then the punt that went backwards, which essentially at that point is a turnover when it's fielded at the 28-yard line. If those 2 possessions turn into scores, you're looking at a 7-point, 14-point game.
Oh, this is going to get out of hand. This is where it bites you being in a district like this, where you're not trying to blow people out, but you end up blowing people out. But in this game, McCollum has a little bit more fight than everybody else, so you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So hopefully, you know, we're not letting this cloud the picture. We're not out here trying to blow folks out, so you kind of get caught sometimes like this.
Second scoop and score in as many weeks for this McCollum defense. Last week, they had one. It was Jason Marrera had a sack scoop and score.
Marrera's a busy guy if he's running the ball and he's scooping and scoring. So if he scoops and scores, it's like a handoff for him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, right man for the job.
Right man for the job, doing the right thing.
So this begs the question, should the Hands team be out there for Alamo Heights?
Almost has to be.
Yeah, I mean, if you're McCollum, house money, right? It's, what, 49-28?
It's a
You're still
21-point
down,
game
21
with
games.
5.5 minutes left.
Yeah, Hands team, let's get it.
We're 3 weeks removed from a game in which saw Heights up by 17 with about the same amount of time left, and it turned into a 3-point victory. When this team has had something to cheer about, their fans or the fan base has had something to cheer about, they've done exactly that. This is Mickler staying in the game. It's going to be short of the first down marker by a yard, maybe half of a yard. But that kind of answers the question about the starters here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. You put them back in and you go back to work. All you need is a touchdown in this situation. It quiets everything because there's not enough time on McCollum's side unless you score for them. You just need this drive, put the baby to bed, and call it a night.
Yeah, Heights just trying to get through what's left of this. 4.5 minutes left to go. Probably will be, in all likelihood, a matter of a little too late.
I call it fake hustle.
Fake hustle.
It's fake hustle because at this point, you're still down 21 points. And it's not like you're going against our ones like that, right? Like, it should be, this is the fight I expected from first quarter to fourth quarter. It's too little too late. It's good for you for momentum for next week, but let's be honest. FDIC insured, baby.
Back to the ground again. There you go. Short of the first down marker. This is VILLARREAL. Probably 2 bars up. Make it a third and about 3.5.
Right? Like, we have to make the appropriate decisions. Don't do too much.
Garza eluding a tackler, picking up a yard on the play. 1.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, I really want ball security on these last few plays.
Heights going to take a timeout here as we hit the 1:34 mark. Left to go in this final quarter of play as the Mules trying to hang on and close out what will be their 4th victory in as many tries here in the 2023. Mickler, the backup, get the reps in various fashions tonight. Seen him line up at tight end, seen him line up under center. As we tick under, or approach, I should say, 1 minute left to go. Heights going to walk away with their 4th victory of the season. Another 4-0 start for the Mules, or undefeated start in district play. Of course, they did that last season. Meanwhile, for McCollum, trying to build off this momentum. So 49-28 your final score tonight. Colin Ernst, another strong showing under center. Another game rushing over 100 yards on the season. Came in with a district-leading 376 yards on the ground coming into tonight. He had a score he had a passing touchdown and a receiving touchdown today to lead the way. In part, Michael Terry, he had 4 scores in addition to that as well. 2 on the ground, 1 in the air, and then 1 receiving. Park Zucker, his first touchdown since week 1. Eastby riding a, at worst, 3-1 record in district play. But they'll focus on that next week. Ron Ritterman will enjoy this victory for Coach. He now moves to 35-6 during his time here at Alamo Heights. Of course, his 4th season for the Mules. Carl Klon over there on the other side, his 4th season and his 2nd go-around with McCollum, drops to 11-22 since coming back. As we await for LARHON on the field, it's going to get a track where this team is at in the grander picture of the playoffs. Making the push for the playoffs, making that push once state time comes around. And he'll say things, Ron will, about how well they played and consistency and kind of playing the part and everything like that. And it's not just a matter of winning these games. It's a matter of making that push for a state championship. And that's kind of the focus on what it is. A lot coming into the season was initially the question was what makes up this team? You know, what does Ron Ritterman have? Well, I think through the first 4 weeks of the season, we have a pretty good coach, Ron Ritterman.
You want to talk? Oh,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
come on.
Ron's got a hold of Coach.
Where's the TV guy?
Fields on the field. Another edition, week 4 edition. Let's go down to LARHON and Coach following another successful showing for Heights. Hey, LARHON.
All right, we're here live with Coach Ron Ritterman. Right, amped up. This game was supposed to be that game that kind of gave you. I'm glad you brought it up because we talked about that. How you're always in this precarious situation. When do you pull them? When do you not? And every opponent is different. Like we said, McCollum was a fighter, but you have to do that, right? You want to get as much film as possible and data to make better decisions as you go. What did you see from your 2s that you like?
Well, it's creating depth. And our program gets stronger every game that the 2s and 3s get in and get to execute. Now, they're going to make some mistakes also, and the 1s make mistakes. So it's not that we're playing perfect football, but, man, we sure are getting better. And that's what's exciting from my chair is the 1s played their best game of the year so far. The 2s went in there and did some good things against a good defensive football team. And so when we put that all together later in the year, it's going to pay big dividends for us.
Well, it's definitely showing, Coach. We're enjoying watching this team, and I know you are. And again, as a coach, you got to be both objective. Got his first touchdown. Park Zunker had a resurgence. It's funny because we're sitting there and we're broadcasting the game. We're like, where are they going now? It's like you have so many options. What do you think you need to work on from this point going forward with that many weapons? Ernst, you guys send it back up to Case VIERA to close out the broadcast.
Fellas, thank you. So Alamo Heights tonight, Colin Ernst tonight, LaRon Fields tonight. All going home winners this evening. A final score, 49-28. The Mules winners today over what was previously undefeated McCollum. A battle of three undefeated teams. Winners today as they head home with a victory. So next time out again at Burbank, the Mules try to eye 5-0 on the season. Of course, at SAISD Sports Complex. For LaRon Fields and everyone involved with AH Sports Media, I'm Casey Vieira. Have a good night. See you next time.